All right, people, hello. So, yeah, I was waiting for long. I did not want to enter right away because there was no structure shift, so I did not. But looking at it, I do expect one short stop run. It could, like looking at the speed of it, it looks unlikely, but we could still get a stop run, and then that's what I am aiming for still. So that is the assumption, and that's not trading advice as already the disclaimer is running, as you can see. What I'm looking for is, well, actually, yeah, we did not discuss that, right? So this is the equilibrium of what? The dealing range. I'm expecting price to reach above here. And there was this 5-minute gap right there, 15-minute gap, sorry. And it was below the equilibrium. The low was below this equilibrium. So I expected price to tap into it and provide me a setup. It kind of did, but then like I can see this was a small structure shift. I saw that, but just not comfortable going long there. Hence I waited. And I don't expect to see it return now. Yep, I don't.
Order canceled. Order canceled. Order canceled.
Okay, so that was the pre-session. It's still continuing, obviously. I'm looking for what, like I told you, right? Okay, I did not mention what it was. So there was some there are some stops there, right there. There's that gap open. That line is anchored to the 1-minute chart. So yeah, so that's the 1-minute stops right there. I'm expecting the market to reach into it, probably this 12-hour gap as well. Eventually, that's a 12-hour gap right there. So we could tap into that as well. As for the weekly bias, I don't hold a very strong bias this week. It could be higher, could be lower, honestly, or it could just consolidate. At this point, I need to see how the market reacts over here. This is where the bias gets decided eventually. But I know the market is heading there, and that's why I wanted to take that entry. But yeah. So let's see what actually turns up. Now, this would be an unnecessary elongated session overall, but that's okay. Not very elongated, right? I start at 9:15 usually, so this would just be like what, another 10 minutes extra. So you see where that reacted exactly? That's 25% of the dealing range. We've taken those equal highs. We're dropping down. Now, do I have a sell approach? I can have that. I think so, but let's see. I'm not running behind anything right now. My approach is longs. My bias is bullish right now, or like at least for this session. I'm looking at that high and eventually that like those stops. So that's where the bias is. I don't want to short in this bias unless I see something very clearly. And just because my draw is complete on the bullish side doesn't mean I have to go short, right? Or doesn't mean the market is going lower. Clearly it is not, at least not at the moment. So let's see. Now see what I see here, I kind of like it. Honestly speaking, I think we should be aiming for that sell side, but I need to see something very obvious. The drop is good. The buy side taken is also decent. We have a structure shift already. We have displacement right there with speed. And looking at the way no gaps were filled, I think it should want to go to that low right away. But then I need to see a gap open, right? Before we entertain anything, I need to see a gap open right there. And then we'll see. I'm looking for a model here which is not here actually, or it is but not really. No. All right, not for a model, sorry. I was looking for a gap, a particular gap. If I could have found a very good gap on this high right here, that would have been a very good point of understanding as to how the market would behave. Now we have the gap, we have the structure shift, we have the liquidity taken, we have the 920 macro. What am I afraid of? Okay, like looking at it, I'm not comfortable shorting here. I think it's, you see that gap right there. This is the gap where the market could come and reverse. And that's what I'm expecting, because again, my bias is bullish. Not that I'm gonna buy this, obviously not. But I don't see a reason why the market should come back to this low. That's the whole thing. Even though the setup is clean and everything is formed, but I don't agree with this at the moment, because where am I looking at? I'm looking at that. So let's see. Let's see if market presents something bullishly here. That's something I would definitely entertain without a doubt. If that is something we get, I'm open to it. So now looking at this, you see this gap. I want to see this remain partially open. That's when we'll have a confirmation that the bullish idea is in play. This gap right here, right? I think it's visible right there. I want to see it partially open. That's what I'm expecting right now. And let's change that color. I don't know. Just a watching gap, right? We need to watch that gap. So yeah, I'm expecting this gap to remain partially open, and obviously I prefer that it remains on the upper half of this gap and tries to push prices from there. And that would be, so that stands broken already, and this doesn't change my perspective yet. In fact, it brings me back to the old idea, which was right below this low, right? I'm seeing ES. Let's see if ES can tap that gap right there, and then we see something. We are already at 925. I think 930 would run off most likely. That's what I'm expecting because it's already in consolidation. It has already given that bullish rally. So 930 open should want to just, zoom past it, or maybe, just maybe jump into this gap before actually going higher. So if that happens, and if I see something which I like, that's where I would be preferring to go long. Now see where the bodies have closed. Very important data where the bodies have closed. It's closing on the upper half of the gap. So far the bodies have remained there, but I would expect it to break down from there, like break down from the gap at least, especially with 930 approaching pretty close. And I think now I should wait for 930 open itself. We're just 3 minutes away from it. So now I'm watching if ES can take that gap, and so can NQ. What about RTH? That's a massive gap up. Not that massive actually, just around 200 points. That's okay. Now looking at that, just this particular thing, we could tap back into the gap before leaving higher, but I think, because my original understanding is the market should be bearish overall. So I think we might go higher first before coming back down. Okay, so ES tapped that gap. I did not see that. It was expected to be a pre-session trade. Now let's see how the market behaves around here. In my opinion, it should be able to push higher easily. Not much of a resistance there. There you go. Draw complete as expected. Now is the fun part. What happens from here? I hold a bearish bias, like a soft bias, not very strongly bearish. I'm just looking how the market behaves at this high and then at that gap. That's where we'll get to know if the market is actually going down. The RTH gap that's open, that gives even more credibility to the fact that the market should most likely go lower, maybe from here or maybe from the gap, like I said, right? Either is good for me. And there you go. The second row is also complete. We have hit the 12-hour gap. Pretty damn quick, right? I know. See that stop right there? I would expect that not to be taken, honestly speaking. Why? Because that's a lot of consolidation, and there's nothing above here that would reject in general. I think if it takes that, then I'll want to take that as well, and maybe even that, and then the step goes on. So I would expect this to remain intact, at least for this particular trade idea that we are holding right now. Let's color that black. Let's see if we are able to stay below that. My expectation was just this. Now let's see if the market really aligns with that expectation. I don't want to see it go higher into that gap, like into the 12-hour gap. I don't want to see it go higher into it. I want to see it reject it, right? That is the approach right now. What about ES? So ES has taken that high, which high, by the way? Okay, that is already taken, right? Okay. So yeah, for ES I have marked that daily wick CE, which could be reached for, but not necessary again. Because if that is reached into, then this would be reached into, and then you get the point, right? I see this gap right here, both of these gaps, and that's exactly where ES is. It should want to reject lower, in my opinion. I'm observing how ES is very energetic. That's okay. I mean, that's obviously okay. An SMT here would be very much appreciated. Like NQ taking the high, ES failing to do that, right? That would be something nice. Let's see if we get an SMT. The approach is still the same. I'm expecting an SMT, most likely the high taken on this one, and NQ and ES does not take that high right there, stays below this red line. ES is like too bearish, clearly. I see a model forming in NQ. I think I'd be okay with it because I am looking for the gap to be filled, or NWOG to be reached, that stop, right? That stop right there. Let's see how this candle closes, because that would determine if we would go short or not. That's nice. Everything is fine. I should have been a short already. I have not been able to open any short right now. I know I have to. I am interested in, but I think I'm a tad bit slow today. Let's see if it gives me another opportunity.
Order filled. Order submitted.
So there you go. I've already sold 2 micros with that stop. It's looking a bit off, honestly speaking. Kind of don't like that. Let's see if we get. I want a rejection on the next candle. That's the approach. Because if we don't get a rejection, I think this will go straight for the stop, and that's not a good sign. This candle should want to reject lower. Clearly, it's not wanting to. Just waiting for this very candle. If it doesn't reject, I think I'll bail from the position. If I have the opportunity, of course. It's rejecting, but I want to see a drop also, right, on the next candle. I think I have a bad feeling about this. Let's see. Not working out. Absolutely not working out. I think that would be it. That goes for the stop now. See it reject sharply here, which I'm not so confident of right now. The way the market is behaving looks unlikely. All right. My entry is not there, by the way. My entry is here on the account itself, like on the Apex account. Let me see what the other time frames look like. Oh, oopsie. Everything looks fine. It should be dropping lower, but it retraced back too deep, and that is where what concerns me overall. I'm thinking, should I be squaring off something or should I be leaving it as it is? Okay, let's see. I would expect the next candle to rush lower fast, because if it doesn't, well, then this is over absolutely. Clearly, it's not doing that. Okay, okay. Showing patience because the idea is pretty much fine. The only problem is the retracement that came in too deep. So we were in a lot of drawdown on this position. That is the only thing that is concerning me right now. Same drill again. I would expect this to drop sharply lower. I would give it another 3 minutes because 10 o'clock is hitting. If it doesn't leave this area by 10, I think I'll have to close the position because I'm not liking the delivery. 10 a.m. could just simply push higher strongly, and I don't want to be a part of that. Okay, ES is definitely not looking good. Okay. Now, if this candle cannot sustain a lower run, we are in trouble. Clearly, it cannot. Not able to pull the trigger here because it's already very close to the stop and I'm just not able to push it. Okay. So that would be it for this position, I think. 10 a.m. is about to hit, and that's not cool that we haven't left this area yet. I'm looking for any signs which tell me that the market is bullish and not bearish. But so far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything. I just see consolidation. I see ES moving higher. Those two are enough of a concern in itself. How this candle closes would tell a lot of things. I know I said to hold only till 10, but this is what we've gotten for ourselves. I guess we have to face the 10 a.m. volatility. There you go. That was a stop out right there. All right. Let's see. Again, my buy still remains the same draw. That has not changed by this failure. And I would like to see more of a consolidation before we move lower. That would be best. We could move lower right from here, I know that, but as a 5-minute order block, very clean right there. See, critical, I would say. Plus, again, we don't have a very clean setup here. Maybe another jab at the high and then we reverse. That would be nice. Again, SMT would be very much appreciated. Like I said, in this scenario, I would say if ES takes the head because ES is much closer and NQ fails it. Looking at RTH, again, the same approach. I don't want to see that black high taken. That gets taken, and I think I'm done for the EM session, and then I'll drop it off. Otherwise, I think we should be heading lower. That is my approach. Those stops, that cap open in the RTH, more lower, that sell side, that NWOG, right? All of those things are my targets. But I need to see something concrete here that tells that we are going lower. I think I stayed in the last week only, and that's where the struggle was. Still is. Like last week was pretty decent, and well, I think I'm trying to repeat the same this week as well, and that is why I'm struggling today. Uh, I'm journaling and I'm seeing, like I said, I thought this was model 3, but it doesn't make sense because model 3 is a continuation model and not a reversal model. Reversal model would be 2022, right? And yeah, you could say it is 2022. Like model 3 is also 2022 particularly, like that's different. I just name it differently so that I know what exactly I'm looking for. That's just segregation. Model 3 is also basically 2022 model, but in a continuation run, right? So that's the approach. But this is where I fail to see it. I, I I think I struggled again. Exactly what I'm saying. I think I struggled because of last week. Last week being pretty decent. I think I want to repeat that same thing again. And if you try to repeat the past, you stay in the past. You cannot move forward. And I have to move forward. See, if this candle rips lower through that swing low, that would be very interesting. I just had to refresh myself. I realized that, and that is all that I need. I think I'd be fine. If it has to fall from here, I need to see a clean run going straight for the low. That's what I'm expecting. Let's see if we actually get it. So both have shifted structure, yet a gap is yet to appear. So let's see if we actually get a gap or not. A lot of rejection there, and that eliminates it in itself. Sticking to the 2-minute chart now. Let's see if we see a breakdown. We have an SMT. We have pretty much everything we need. We just need a gap. We also have kind of a clean run so far. Just give me a moment. Until that low is taken, as for this particular run, I don't think we can expect it to go lower yet. I believe that would be it for today's session. I'll see what we get in the PM, and this is going higher now. That is what I think should happen. I think it's going for that black line again, which I did not expect it to reach. So I guess the bearish draw was pretty much not on point, but right now I think that's where it's headed. Then we'll see what we are presented with in the PM session. Thank you.